What do you get when you mix unchecked ego, a dash of charisma, and a gallon of delusion? A cult leader. These guys weren't just handing out bad vibes, they were selling them wholesale with a side of divine purpose. From self-styled saviours to gothic showmen, these 5 men didn't just build followings, they built obsessions. Welcome to history's hot messes. Today we're diving into 5 cult leaders who weaponized charm and probably should have been in therapy instead of leading communes. Let's start with Russia's favourite unwashed Rasputin. Grigori Rasputin, part mystic, part menace, all moustache. This Siberian stare wizard somehow went from peasant to power player in the Romanov court. His secret weapon? A whole lot of eye contact and rumours of mystical healing powers, plus some very NSFW behaviour under the holy robes. They said he could heal the Tsarevich's haemophilia. Did he have medical training? Nope, just vibes. Also, hypnotic eyes and a confidence that screamed, I have absolutely read my own Wikipedia page. Rasputin moved in with the royal family like a houseguest who never left. The Russian elite hated him. The press spun tales of orgies and occultism, and the man just would not die. Like, literally, they poisoned him, shot him, and drowned him. Legend says he still glared back. Rasputin's psychological pull lay in his contradiction. He was filthy and frightening, yet magnetic. He preached sin as a path to salvation. Repentance meant nothing unless you got real dirty first. That twisted logic, weirdly effective. He exploited the spiritual hunger and political instability of the time, planting himself like a mystical tumour in a crumbling empire. And under the theatrics was something darker, a man addicted to power. Once inside the court, he manipulated the empress, sabotaged rivals, and played factions off one another. Was he a holy man? A hustler? A trauma response to a dying monarchy? Probably all 3. Either way, Rasputin knew how to command a room, and it got him killed. Now for the man who ruined Fruit Punch forever, Jim Jones. Preaching racial equality while grooming followers for total control, he started the People's Temple as a church of progress, then spiralled into paranoia, surveillance, and a tropical death cult. Jones had charisma and a velvet voice. People called him Dad, and not in the TikTok way. By the time he relocated over 900 followers to Jonestown in the Guyanese jungle, his ego was outpacing reality. The micromanaging, the staged miracles, the sunglasses at all hours. When a US congressman flew in to investigate, things went off the rails. What followed was a horror that left over 900 dead, most by poisoned punch, an event so shocking, it became a dark cultural shorthand for blind loyalty. But Jim wasn't just evil, he was complicatedly evil. He grew up poor, resented authority, and had a god complex brewing by puberty. He wanted to be adored, obeyed, and immortal. He styled himself as both prophet and protector, and used language like a scalpel, slicing into people's fears, then stitching himself in as the only cure. By the end, he was unravelling. Addicted to drugs and his own mythology, he staged what he called White Nights, apocalyptic rehearsals where followers were told to prove their devotion. His voice, once soothing, became the last thing many heard. This wasn't a man who lost control. It was a man who needed it so badly. He shattered everything to maintain the illusion. Next is Charles Manson. Failed musician, wannabe messiah, full-time chaos goblin. Manson cobbled together a ragtag family of mostly young women and drifters, fed them acid, and spun pseudo-biblical doom rants that made 0 sense, but sounded profound if you were high enough. He was obsessed with triggering Helter Skelter, a race war he thought the Beatles predicted. Spoiler, they did not. But Manson's followers still went full slasher movie, committing the infamous Tate LaBianca murders in 1969. Charlie? He never held the knife, but his control over the family was absolute. Dig into Manson's psyche, and you find a cocktail of childhood neglect, time in institutions, and a burning need to be somebody. He saw himself as the misunderstood genius of the counterculture, a failed rock star who could still headline if the stage was big enough and the lights were candles in the desert. His charm was feral. He made his followers feel special, chosen, like they were part of a revolution no one else could see. His doctrine, a bizarre mashup of white supremacy, pop culture, and ego-stroking nonsense. But if you were isolated and broken, it sounded like purpose. On to the next. Aleister Crowley, Poet, mountaineer, magician, and certified weirdo. Crowley styled himself the Great Beast 666 and made it his mission to shock polite society. He practiced ritual magic, founded a spiritual movement called the Lema, and did enough drugs to fuel a minor music festival. Crowley's whole vibe was sex, spells, and scandal. His writing inspired Wiccans, rock bands, and occult TikTokers, before TikTok was even a cursed idea. People feared him, worshipped him, or tried to ban him. He once summoned demons in Egypt. For fun. His followers, willing to give up everything to join his Abbey of Thelema in Sicily, where things got real messy, real fast. Crowley's psyche was equal parts rebel and narcissist. He was born rich, raised strict, and rejected everything Victorian England shoved down his throat. That repression, he turned it into performance art. His whole ethos, do what thou wilt, was a direct slap to conformity, but also a blank cheque for his own hedonism. To his fans, he was liberating. To critics, just a deeply lonely man drowning in ego. Crowley blurred the line between spiritual exploration and self-indulgence, writing page after page of esoteric gobbledygook while chasing immortality through infamy. And honestly, he kind of got it. Finally, meet Anton LaVey, part philosopher, part performance artist, full-time founder of the Church of Satan. With his shaved head, pet lion, and flair for ritual, LaVey leaned into shock value like it was a marketing strategy. Because it was. But surprise, LaVeyan Satanism wasn't about human sacrifice. It was mostly about radical individualism, indulgence, and being extra. He wrote the Satanic Bible, held theatrical rituals, and posed in devil horns for Life magazine. To some, he was a prophet. To others, a con man with excellent stage lighting. LaVey understood media. He turned Satan into a brand, not a deity. His doctrine was more Ayn Rand than Anton Zandor. Think self-reliance with eyeliner. But underneath that snarl was a clever, bitter man who saw traditional religion as a tool of control and hypocrisy. He channeled that rage into ritual and spectacle. His cult, less Kool-Aid, more cosplay. But make no mistake, LaVey loved power, attention, and myth-building. He wasn't just mocking organised religion, he was building his own altar, complete with merch. So what do all these men have in common? Charisma without conscience. Insight twisted into ego. And just enough mystique to turn crowds into clay. History's full of hot messes, but these ones? They weaponized charm like it was a cult starter pack. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and keep questioning anyone who calls themselves a chosen one. Until next time, stay skeptical, stay saucy, and stay out of the jungle.